What's up, everybody? Back here for the final week of the NFL season for our pick'em. We took the week off this last week. We all enjoyed the holiday here at Chiefscast, but we are ready to pick this last week. So let's first talk about where we're at with the standings. So after a very big hole that I dug myself early in the year and having the long hill to climb the entire way, I'm actually 3 games up, 115 and 107 to 112, 110. So Chris, Billy, Brian, all you guys are 3 games behind me at this point. We have 16 to go. This is going to be a pretty volatile weekend. And I also decided to have my now 6-year-old son help me pick these games. I definitely know how to get him to sway his opinion one way or another. But there were a couple here, and I'll point them out where he was pretty set, and I'm going to go ahead and run with what he says, even though it's not necessarily my gut reaction. And I think that this is really pretty appropriate for gambling in a way to kind of close this whole thing out. But
yeah, so you're pretty much a guaranteed victory, I think, by doing that.
Yeah, and I definitely think that the one thing that I want to point out is that we are both over 500. So if we would have been betting $10 on every single one of these things, obviously there could be more payout for certain games, but if these were paying out even and everything like that, we would be on the profitable side. So this would have been a useful worthwhile venture. It's a big thing I'll point out. Don't necessarily know that's how this works, but let's get into this final week. So the first one is the game that we care the most about. It is the Chiefs going out to Denver in a game that suddenly means a ton. The Chiefs are favored on the road by 10. Where are you going on this one?
Going with the Chiefs. Yeah. I mean, you pretty much just summed it up right there.
Yep, exactly. This is a game that I wouldn't want to touch with a 10-foot pole if they would have pulled that one off against the Bengals and had the 1 seed locked up. I still think that most of our backups could get up and beat the Broncos in Denver, but we're going to have the A team out there. And, this might be the one that gets Vic Fangio fired. We'll see. All right. Next, the other Saturday game, which, by the way, I think it's a bunch of crap that they moved this to Saturday. They definitely flexed the correct one to Sunday night, but we should not be playing Saturday at 4:30. I don't know what the hell that is.
No, it overlaps with the Kansas Texas Tech game. So I've got to multitask there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the other Saturday game, which this is another one that shouldn't be on Saturday.
No.
Dallas at Philadelphia. The Cowboys are favored by 7. Both of these teams are in the playoffs. And I would have to double check everything, but I believe if Philly wins this one, this could be a rematch in the wild card round back in Dallas. So this is an interesting game, but Dallas is favored by a touchdown on the road. Where are you going on that one?
Well, the thing is that Philly really doesn't have much to play for. They've got their spot locked up, but the Cowboys definitely have a lot to play for in terms of seeding. So I'm going to go with Dallas.
Okay, so I was the exact opposite on that one. I'm going with Philly. Dallas is just looked pretty inconsistent here recently, and Philly looks like they actually have found an identity. So I think the Philly Eagles are going to at the very least cover the spread. So Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cleveland's favored by 6. This one, when I was writing it out, made me do a double take. But then I realized that both teams are going to be playing with their backups, and Joe Mixon's out based on COVID protocol. So I really don't know what to do with this one. This is one of the games this week that I don't even think that I would remotely consider putting any actual money on. Cleveland's been eliminated. Baker Mayfield is elected for season-ending surgery. Joe Burrow's taking the day off to recover. Cleveland's favored by 6. I think they get that and win and close their season.
I didn't know that because Cincinnati's locked into the 4 seed now, aren't they? I don't think they can.
Well, they could theoretically move up. They can move up. I mean, here's the thing. They can
leapfrog us, can't they?
Kansas City loses this game. Any of the other teams would jump us. We could
Yeah,
be the 4
because
seed if we lose this game.
right. I'm going to take Cincinnati, even without Burrow and Nixon.
Sounds good. Yeah, so we got a couple of differing opinions where this is going to get figured out. I don't think there's going to be a lot to figure out on this one. Green Bay is going to Detroit. They're favored by 4. Green Bay is going to win this one big in my mind.
It's an interesting line because LaFleur just said, I think on Monday, that he doesn't like the idea of resting his starters for 2 straight weeks. So I got a feeling Green Bay will probably at least play their starters for a half, and that's going to be more than enough to cover a 4-point spread, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Chicago going to Minnesota. Minnesota is favored at home by 3.5, which essentially means they're favored by half a point, which essentially means this is a pick 'em. So where are you going on this one?
Jeez, the matchup of the lame duck coaches. I'm going to go with the Bears.
I'm going in the same direction. I'm going with the coach that knows he's fired, beating the coach that might be trying to deny that for another week. But I think Zimmer's getting fired as well. All right, Washington football team going to New York, favored by a touchdown on the road. Where are you going there?
This is another gross one. Yeah. I'm going to take the Giants. Just because it's a divisional game. Neither team has anything to play for, but I think they can cover a touchdown spread.
Yep, Joe Judge is playing for his job. He's playing to get a third year. I think the Giants win. I think he gets it. All right, next one. This is a massive spread. This is one that I don't necessarily think that I would want to touch in real life. I argued with my son, but he is steadfast that Indianapolis is going to go on the road by Jacksonville to play Jacksonville, and they're going to beat them by more than the 15.5 points that they're favored by. So I am reluctantly going Indy, and I'm guessing this one's going to work out because I've got a 6-year-old picking it.
Yeah, Indianapolis has a lot to play for in this game. The Jaguars have just been so terrible. Ironically, since Urban Meyer was fired, I'll take the Colts in this too.
All righty. Pittsburgh, Big Ben's last game in the NFL, unless a bunch of crazy stuff happens and the Steelers make it into the playoffs, going to Baltimore. Baltimore is favored by 5.5 at home. Where are you going there?
Even if Tyler Huntley starts this game, I'm going to take the Ravens.
See, and I'm the opposite. I'm going Pittsburgh. I really think that this is going to be one last good emotional win for the Roethlisberger era. I just don't see that guy going out on a losing note in Baltimore.
These are like the two probably other than Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, probably the best pound for pound head coaches. Yeah, but I'm going with John Harbaugh. That's really where I'm going. I'm picking the head coach over head coach on this one.
Sure, got it. Well, it's another one where we're split. So we've officially got 3 where we're split on. So we're getting to the point where we know how this is going to get sorted out. Next one, we've got Tennessee going to Houston. Houston sniped the Titans earlier in the season, or they probably would already have the one locked up and wouldn't have anything to play for. But consequently, they do have something to play for. Tennessee on the road, favored by 10. Got to go with the Titans on this one.
Yeah, they're not going to lose to the Texans again. They're going to be extremely motivated to lock up that 1 seed.
Exactly. What they want more than anything is another week of rest for Derrick Henry. Anthony, Titans Anthony has been calling that from the day he got hurt. I remember him saying this is a very minor injury. I spent time on the Reddit boards for the Titans. I spent time on WebMD putting this whole thing in. Like they're going to lock up the 1 seed. All they have to do is, and he sat there and laid it out. And that's kind of how it's worked out for the Titans. It's, get that 1 seed. Derrick Henry gets that extra week of rest, and then the playoffs run through Tennessee. So I think that's how this is going to go. This is going to be an interesting playoff. I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to Kansas City going back into Tennessee for an AFC
Yeah,
championship game to
I
avenge
hope it
that.
happens.
Avenge that. That's what I'm looking forward to. All right. Another team that absolutely has to win. The New Orleans Saints are on the road in Atlanta, favored by 4.5. That seems like such a low line for how all cylinders firing. Sean Payton's going to have the Saints coming out motivated to get a win, knowing that a win in San Francisco, not going on the road to beat the Rams. We'll get to that one here shortly. I just don't see a world where the Saints lose this game, and I think they win by at least a touchdown. So I'm going Saints.
I don't think they lose, but they're really good defensively, but they struggle offensively. I mean, with Taysom Hill, but I'm going to take the Saints as well. And I honestly think Sean Payton should win Coach of the Year with what he's done this year.
Sure. All right. This is another one that I don't know how into this bet I would be in real life. We got the Jets going to the Bills. The Bills are favored by 16 at home. Where are you going on this one?
I'll go with the Jets to cover because the Bills have struggled against lesser competition. And I'm trying to play out in my head to see where they would be at by this time with all the games in front of them. I'm gonna take the Jets.
Okay, well, this is another one of those situations where I'm making good on my word to my 6-year-old son that I was gonna go with his picks because I feel the exact same way that you do, but I'm going with the Bills. He was pretty adamant about that one, so we're gonna roll with that. Then let's get into this other game that I mentioned with New Orleans. San Francisco going to the Rams. The Rams are favored by 4.5 at home in LA, which they have more of a home vibe than the Chargers do by all means. But I'm definitely going with the Rams to close this one down. I think they're highly motivated to get that 2 seed and make sure they're going on the road as little as possible with their eyes on somebody else taking care of Green Bay, and they get to play every game at home, including the Super Bowl. I think that's where their head's at. That's what Sean McVay and Matt Stafford are going to be saying. I think that this step at least gets done in that journey.
See, Stafford has been throwing the ball up so much here lately, leads the NFL in pick sixes. The 49ers, whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, I think they're going to come in pretty salty. I'm actually going to go with San Francisco in this one.
Cool. So you think San Francisco wins and gets in the playoffs?
I do.
You do. All right. Good stuff. All right. We got the Patriots going to Miami. The typical thorn in the side. They can't actually ruin anything for the Patriots this year. The Patriots are favored by 6.5 on the road. Miami was a team that I had as a dark horse to make it into the playoffs until Tennessee effectively not only let the wind out of their sails, but they did that whole thing where you see the pirate on the movie take the knife and slide down the sail. And now the ship just doesn't work anymore because it's not the Black Pearl. Long way of saying I think the Patriots win this game.
Yeah, I don't.
And cover the 6.5.
Yeah, Miami had a lot of flaws exposed. Not that I don't think anybody knew they were there, and the Patriots will have something to play for.
Got it. Okay, Seattle at Arizona. The Cardinals are favored at home by 6.5. They could still theoretically win the West, have a home game. I don't think this is Russell Wilson's last game in Seattle. I think that he and Pete Carroll kiss and make up at the end of the season. They figure out how to reboot this team quickly. But I also think that the first step in that is not ending this season horribly and going out with a win against the Cardinals to close the season out is a good step there. And I think that they not only cover the 6.5, but win the game.
I'm going to take Seattle, but not to win, but to cover, just because the Cardinals have been struggling offensively. And I think they're probably going to win this in a one-score game.
Okay, perfect. And then we have Tampa hosting Carolina. There's potential rumors that Matt Rule could not be back next year, which I think is kind of insane. I don't see it happening unless he up and decides he wants to go back to college football, but I don't even know what jobs would be available that he could go after at this point. It seems like the carouseling in college is kind of done. So I would say that at the very least, Rule gets a third season. And for what it's worth, his third seasons in Temple and Baylor were when things really started to click for teams that he had. So, I'm going with the Bucks to win this game still, but I
Yeah,
don't think
I
that
am
rules
too.
out.
No, the Panthers got to figure out what to do with their quarterback situation because I mean it's just been god awful. So yeah, I'm not down on Matt Rule either. It's just if you don't have a quarterback, even a halfway inept one, I mean you're going to struggle. I don't care who you are.
Well, and Sam Darnold was kind of decent, but he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah,
Just
and Cam Newton is just he's beyond cooked.
shelled
So
himself. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And then the game of the week, to me, the only one that the NFL could have even remotely thought about flexing. I mean, this is a game I'm truly looking forward to. This is one of those where I will be rooting for a comet to hit the stadium. I think I've talked about this before. I don't want anybody to actually die or get hurt. I want one of these mythical comets that comes around and throws out 2 losses, so neither of these teams can be in the playoffs. But we have the Chargers going to the Raiders. Where are you going on this one?
In the back of my mind, I always think the Chargers are going to charger, but the Raiders are going to Raider as well. I think the Chargers. I really do like Brandon Staley as a head coach, and I think Justin Herbert's going to play a good game, and that's going to be enough to cover the 3 and win.
Yeah, this is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Will the Chargers charger, the Raiders Raider, or will the third thing happen, which is they both play a good game and one of them just has to come out victorious? So I'm going to say that I'm going on the record saying I think the Raiders are winning this game and going to the playoffs. But my son was pretty adamant that the Chargers are going to get it, and I'm going to ride with him. So I'm going with the Chargers to cover the spread and win the game and be the final playoff team. So I'm with you right there. That said, I messed up and he and I agreed to pick Miami to cover the spread against the Patriots. So I have to make true to that and run with that. So as of right now, we are aligned on, it looks like 9 of the games. We're differing on Dallas and Philadelphia. You're going Dallas, I'm going Philly to at least cover, or Philly to win. Yeah, Philly to not lose by a touchdown. Sorry. You're going with Cincinnati. I'm going with Cleveland. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with that one? You're riding with the Ravens and John Harbaugh. I'm riding with Big Ben and Mike Tomlin. You're thinking the Jets find a way with Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins big. You're going Niners. I'm going Rams. And then we have Miami doing the typical stuff to the Patriots. And actually, we didn't disagree on Seattle. So we have 6 that we're differing on.
Mm-hmm.
So really long version for the last one of the season, kind of going through everything. So let's throw one more wild card in here. First question is, does John Harbaugh go back to the NFL?
Oh, Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's 2 of them. And then the second question, if he does, where will he be?
I heard a rumor, or at least I heard about a trip that he took out to, I think it was to Vegas earlier in the season, stood on the sideline. That was the first kind of sign of smoke to this. But God, Jim Harbaugh is just such a unique character. I'm going to say he stays at Michigan.
Okay. I think he goes. I'm totally on board with the narrative of he's going to need a decade to even think about being competitive with what the SEC throws out, just from a recruiting standpoint, and that there's just not a quick enough fix to getting the kind of players that the Georgias, the LSUs could potentially get back into, the Alabamas, the USCs. I just think it's too tall of a hill to climb. He can leave with his head held high. He got Michigan into the playoff. He beat Ohio State. He won the Big Ten. Consistently beating Ohio State, I think, is a long run. Vegas on paper seems to make a ton of sense. But I think Jacksonville and go step in, clean up Urban Meyer's mess, have Trevor Lawrence is the best situation. And for the love of God, please, please, please do not let him end up in the Mountain Time Zone along with another quarterback from this area.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know you say he's got, in terms of who he needs to compete, but to be honest with you, the only school he has to compete with is Ohio State. And if he
I understand that.
succeeds against Ohio State, I think that is good enough for that job. And I don't know. I mean, he left a pretty good situation in San Francisco. That's what kind of boggles me a little bit, just to go back into the college ranks. So I'm going to say he's going to stay in Ann Arbor.
Harbaugh doesn't strike me as one of those guys that's going to good enough to keep that job. Part of the reason that he left San Francisco is he worked himself out of a quarterback solution and was having disagreements with management. I mean, that's the way that I took everything. And Michigan was a reclamation project similar to the 49ers being a reclamation project before he came in. I mean, they were a horrible playoff missing team before he came in and turned them around on a dime, honestly. And I feel like he's going to have his eye on doing that again in the NFL with Jacksonville. And part of the reason I think he's not going to Vegas is I think the Raiders make it into the playoffs and they keep the guy who they got in the interim right now.
Which is a big mistake, but yeah.
Well, you just got done eating $10 million a year for Gruden to do what Gruden was doing. We have no idea what the settlement's going to be, but I'm going to make an educated guess that Mark Davis is going to be paying a good number of what's left on that contract as well. And so do you want to pay Jim Harbaugh $8 to $10 million a year on top of that? Or do you want to bring in, Rich to be at a lower cost and give him his big break after he gets the Raiders into the playoffs?
To be honest, knowing Mark Davis, I think he would be more apt to shell out the money for Jim Harbaugh. But that's my opinion. I don't think Mark Davis worries too much about the pocketbook.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, if we end up as a tie in this, we will use the Jim Harbaugh situation as a tiebreaker.
All right.
And so you're going to stay at Michigan. I'm going to go to the NFL, and Jacksonville is where I'm leaning. But we'll do it an NFL versus college situation as a tiebreaker, and we will follow up on this if it comes in. And until then, and until next time and the next Chiefs cast, everybody take care.